The view up in Banner Elk, Eagle's Nest. One interesting thing about looking in the mountains, you can, look, a giant bug go across the screen there. We've got some, just some leaves beginning to pop up there. In the higher elevations, we're still in the pollination stage for a lot of these deciduous trees. So you don't see as much lushness until you get in the valleys where it's been a little bit warmer. So a little bit behind schedule there. Pollen's still pretty bad up there. Now the wind blowing some of that pollen around today. Look at the low pressure off the coast. Very impressive little low pressure system. Technically a nor'easter that's kind of backing up. What I will be interested to watch tonight, I mentioned this at the top, that little swirl, if it passes over the warm currents of the Gulf Stream, we might see an uptick in thunderstorm activity around the center, and it might get stronger before it weakens a little bit. Now, it's pushing in cooler air from the ocean. Remember, the water offshore is much cooler in the spring than when we get later in the season, so that onshore flow is actually a cooler flow along the coast. You go inland where the ridge is, look at the monster heat, crazy heat all the way into Michigan yesterday. Cherry Airport up there in Traverse City, I think at 92 yesterday, record high. Then a sea breeze came off of, or basically a lake breeze, I should say, came off Lake Michigan. The temperature dropped into the low 50s. That water is cold up there as well, but we are starting to see that heat build across the middle of the country. But that's not where our weather's coming from. It's coming from this thing. It's moving in from the east. So east to west movement, we call that retrograding. When it moves in that opposite direction, that's going to bring clouds and, yes, scattered showers. But here's the thing. You see those rain chances and you think, uh-oh, it's an all-day rain. That is not the setup for Friday or Saturday. These are scattered showers. In fact, there's likely going to be plenty of breaks in between the showers. The only problem is the showers could happen anytime during the day. These aren't going to be confined to just the afternoon hours. You know, tomorrow the clouds thicken up. But watch what happens on Friday morning. We could have showers in the morning, in the middle of the day, in the afternoon, in the evening, but there are breaks in between. So it's not an all-day rain. So all those outdoor activities, there's a lot of commencement services. We got UNC Charlotte's graduation. They're all outside, rain or shine. Just bring the umbrellas. It will not rain the entire time, but you might get a passing shower, especially as we go into Saturday morning. By Saturday afternoon, I do expect some improvement. So the rain chance is not off the charts. You know, 60% Friday, 40% Saturday. You can get a lot of things done outdoors. It's just the longer you spend outside, the higher the chances are you're going to run into one of those passing showers. Now, our pollen forecast shows that we do have the pollen levels starting to increase once again a little bit here today and tomorrow into the 7.5, 7.5. But Friday, Saturday, they go back down because of the rain in the forecast, and we're starting to get over the hump of the worst of the pollen season. Here's the good news. Even with the rain in the forecast, no severe weather expected. So for the next 5 days, we've got zero chance of severe weather. But the heat, it's going to start to crank up. Enjoy the cool temperatures today and the next 2 days, because that's it. I think we're going straight into 80s. And once we get into the 80s, we might not stop until we get into the 90s by the end of next week. And that could be a sign that we're fully going into summer, which is right on schedule. Mid-May is about the time we start going above the 80s and kind of consistently staying there. And looking long range, it does look like the heat is going to start to build with above average temperatures. And that upper low and that low pressure system moves over us tomorrow into the weekend, but then here comes the ridge for next week. So be prepared. The heat is on the increase. Get the AC tuned up now. You're going to need it. Tomorrow, cooler temperatures because of the clouds, that northeast wind, not as much sunshine. So noticeably cooler tomorrow. Don't forget this weekend, Sunday night into Monday, we should have enough breaks in the cloud cover right now to see the full lunar eclipse, which is going to happen right around midnight. I'll be posting more about this over the next couple of days on social media. And of course, we'll give you an update on that forecast as we get closer to Sunday night. But that should be a spectacular event going into Monday morning. But look at the heat next week, and let's go 10 days into the future. I hope you like the 90s, because I think Wednesday might be the first one, and we could see more low 90s into next weekend. We'll be right back.